Nicodemus here. I just want to touch base on what are three habits that we could institute right away that would change our lives?
Yeah. Well, let's answer it in two different ways. First, let's answer it with the actual. So, from Course in Miracles, three things. It's really funny. I was doing class recently, and in the class, was talking. It was a cameo that is some of Helen's original notes, and in the cameo, it gave three things, ironically, and they are policing the mind, so mind watching your thoughts, your mind all the time, asking for guidance, and then demonstrating, performing miracles. So actually, we can practicing forgiveness. Let's put that in there as that part. So policing the mind, watching your thoughts. That's probably one of the most important things that you can do, because without that and developing that discipline, the mind wreaks havoc. It runs wild. If you think of the mind like a chariot, they always have the pictures in India of the chariots, and you've got all the horses. If you don't rein in the horses, they run all over the place. So watching your thoughts. And it says in the Course, we're much too tolerant of mind wandering. We just let our mind wander, and it just conjures up all these images and scary things and fear and all of that. So in policing the mind, if you will, Florence Scovel Shinn was a contemporary writer in the 20s. She wrote the Game of Life and How to Play it. She uses something that she's like, you have to be the watchdog of your thoughts. I think so developing that as a habit or a practice, asking for guidance. So in any situation where I have static or I don't know what to do, I ask for guidance. That's actually one of the best things, because that sets you up in a relationship with life, God, spirit. That is actually puts us in our proper relationship, because I'm asking for guidance, which I have to acknowledge that I don't know if I'm asking for guidance. So think about that. Because to the extent we think we know what something is, and our minds are very limited in what we perceive. So to the extent I think I know what to do and know what something is, rather than going asking for guidance. Now, obviously, we don't ask for guidance like every single thing throughout our day. Should I eat this? Should I not eat that? We can be in an effortless flow. Anything that comes up where we're troubled and not sure what to do, asking for guidance. The humility that comes from that, also, we start opening to possibilities that we might not have been available to. What do I mean by that? Well, our minds are very limited. So think about you and I. I can't see, none of us know what the next moment holds. And even our past, we have a vague memory and of pictures of the past that aren't really exactly the way it happened. It's just the way we told ourselves and the pictures we still have. So our judgments are they're not reliable, actually, when you think about it. We're processing 1/1 billionth of what we're actually taking in. So our minds are omitting most of reality, like 99.99, a lot of nines of reality. It's omitting it. And then going, this is what this means. This is what this is. Well, think about that compared to when I ask for guidance, spirit, God, the Holy Spirit, the spirit of the whole, whatever you want to call it, has all of consciousness and time at the disposal. So you think about this, there's a way of tuning in where we have ability of knowing or sensing something that you and I can't understand with our conscious mind. I mean, there's millions of stories about this now. You could just look them up. How do people, they sense it? It's like they knew it in something like Think and Grow Rich. That was written in the 30s. He talks about that inner knowing or that intuition, the hunches. You start to ask for guidance and thoughts pop in. That's what we're talking about, asking for guidance. So policing the mind, watching our thoughts, any thoughts that are not aligned with spirit, with God, with love, we're rejecting. No, I'm going to choose again. Asking for guidance in any situation that we don't know what to do with or feel any type of static. And then the third part, demonstrating miracles, what that looks like is practicing forgiveness, practicing love and offering love throughout the day and through all the people that we meet, especially the people we don't like, the hard times, looking at our life, what areas, I can look at my life with spirit, what areas get to be cleaned up. Where are their grievances? Where is their conflict? Where is their fear? Maybe I'm being pushed to take an action step here, demonstrating miracles. So demonstrating miracles is a demonstration of forgiveness in our life and all of our relationships. So I'd say that those are three things. And what's the beauty of it is that that'll be the three habits of practice for the rest of our lives, ultimately. Now, that as you start to do that daily, that's why some things you could do, Course in Miracles lessons. I highly recommend people do a Course in Miracles lessons. There's a lesson every day for the whole year. And the lessons guide you to think about people in your life, like who annoys you or that you don't like. That's a perfect person suitable for the exercise. And you start applying these to your life. I would put that also in demonstrating miracles, the third part. So those are three things in habits. Now, what are habits you can actually practice in your everyday life? Is for me that are outside, let's say, Course in Miracles. I could just tell you, for me, everybody will have them a little bit differently for that. You know, a lot of it, yoga. I'm a big fan of hot yoga. It's so super intense, 105 degrees, hour and a half. I've been doing it for 15 to 20 years, somewhere maybe 17 years, so a long time. That for me is like a non-negotiable, because why? You know, people ask me, first off, I want to practice things where I practice being uncomfortable. So if I'm sitting in a 105-degree room and my heart's racing, I feel like, you might even feel a little claustrophobic. I want to be able to sit in that and not react to uncomfortableness. That's the first thing. That's why I get into 32-degree water every day. So cold plunging, that's a big one for me also, because I want to be able to sit in that. And even though maybe my body or my psyche, my mind is screaming like, let's get out of here, I want to be able to go, no. I'm going to make a different decision here. So I train myself to be able to handle that. Exercise, non-negotiable practice, getting the heart rate up. That could be walking, but really sprinting. That could be doing different types of cardio. High intensity training is great as well. I would say meditation practice, adding in there. For me, breath work is a big one. In terms of breath work, like a Wim Hof breathing, a rebirth breathing. Wim Hof, you could do a 15-minute breath work. That's amazing. So those are some practices. I also too, I don't drink alcohol. That's just a practice for me over the years. I don't like the way it reacts to my body. So, for me, looking at compulsions in my life and things I could cut out and that, support me in thriving, I would say those are some practices, that how you eat and, learning maybe fast and shifting your relationship with food, that could be a really important one. And so I practice all these practices. And for me, mastery is about getting to a place with them where it just becomes a way of life. It becomes a way of life. So those are some Course in Miracles things, and then also some practices that you can implement. And I'd love to hear in the comments, you put in some of your practices. What do you love to do? What do you feel like grounds you? Adding in the meditation, for me, prayer. I that was the asking for guidance, but that's a huge practice. So I'd love to hear from you. Put in the comments what your practices are, and thank you for tuning in as always. I'm happy to be able to share this with all of you.